And for more, we take you out to Acrisure, where we are pleased. Lead NFL analyst on CBS, Tony Romo, joins us now. Tony, this was two vastly different halves of football. What do you point to in the material change at halftime for Buffalo that rendered this result?
Well, I think they adjusted a little bit better than Pittsburgh at the beginning. They had a corner blitz that resulted in Bosa getting one-on-one, and then obviously the sack that creates a touchdown. Benford scores, and then the interception when Rudolph comes in. That was the biggest swing of the game, because right there was just a field position game, and it was going to come down to possibly a late score. And that really put the onus on Pittsburgh, and they just weren't able to overcome, some of the deficiencies. And you could see some of those, on the outside a little bit right now. And then on top of it, their inability to stop the run when they ran a very similar, basically 2 plays in the run game over and over again and can impose their will. I mean, that would be concerning if I was Pittsburgh, but also a great sign for Buffalo. Down 2 tackles, you can still go in and just make the game simple.
You point to that play at halftime, and it really felt like insult to injury, because Rodgers is dealing with something there on the wrist, the fractures, and then comes up bloodied with the nose. Talk to me about the mechanics of operating as a quarterback at this level on 1.5 arms and then bloodied in it as well.
Well, I think he handled it well. I think they had a good plan for it, but they couldn't run the football today. Buffalo did a great job coming out and neutralizing it, making it a passing contest, and they don't have the weapons on the outside consistently enough to do that, and especially with the structure of this Bills defense and how they make it look this way and then come from over here. They just had Rodgers under duress and obvious passing downs, but it was the inability of Pittsburgh to be able to run the ball that was the difference, outside of obviously Buffalo's ability to run the ball.
And it's a Buffalo defense that has struggled to stop the run, still just 50-some yards for this offense, outgained by 206 yards. They're 166 in total, the fewest in a home game since 1994, Tony. You pointed to those missing pieces up front for Buffalo. The mercenaries come in and they find themselves a win on the road. What sort of confidence builder is that for a team that surely needed one?
It's huge, because you have to change your entire game plan. If you saw that, it was literally get the ball out quick, screens, quick passes, flats, get the running backs in motion, do things in the pass game. I think they took 1 pass in the first half that I saw was 10 yards or more downfield, and that was still in rhythm while they chipped the edges, but it was just run the football. They had to run the football. When you bring backup offensive tackles in, you can still run the ball technically, different than if the guards were hurt, but you can't pass protect. And so I think it was a great plan by Buffalo in the way that they came out and really just executed it.
From Dallas to Pittsburgh, everywhere in between, Tony Romo always has us covered. Appreciate you, pal.
Thank you, guys. Have a good week.
A full holiday week for our team with the NFL on CBS as they bring you a couple of high-stakes matchups. Most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in NFL history. It was only a matter of time. Josh Allen distancing himself further from Jalen Hurts and crossing the former record holder in Cam Newton.
Well, Josh just said to me, find a way. Well, certainly you come in with a banged-up offensive line, and you guys run for 249 yards, setting a record, by the way, for an opponent in this stadium. What can you say about this run game?
I'm so proud of our O-line. Guys stepping up, creating some holes for our running backs. I thought James and Ray both ran the ball really well tonight. Early on, got to be a little bit better, but again, this team's just we got to find a way to start winning these football games in this, cold winter type of night against the AFC North opponent, and we found a way.
After last week's loss, to come in here and get this win, you kind of mentioned it. In terms of where you are in the AFC, how important is this one?
I mean, they're all important. This one's no more important than hopefully the next one. We got to put our foot down, find a way to be better, improve from this game plan, and again, continue to find ways.
Go enjoy it. Congrats.
Go Bills.
Those Bills rushing attack between 2 second-string tackles just going and getting the job done. 249 on the ground, the most we've seen at the stadium since it opened. I would like to just avert our eyes for a moment down to the bottom. What happened in 07?
Oh, Max, so you was.
I feel like we have firsthand experience.
I asked you, man. You said you didn't give up.
What happened?
I didn't think that was Casey Hampton and them fault. They ain't didn't do the secondary. we supposed to do. We supposed to be tackling the secondary a lot. No.
I mean,
they get to the third level like that.
Sounds like you
somebody
made a few
doing their
tackles
job.
that day. 224.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And to delve deeper with the fellas, and I want to start right there with the run game, Mac. You know what it is to wear that uniform, to carry that standard. Pat, you as well. This isn't that. And we've seen it time and again throughout this year. Struggles to stop the run, and that's really the question in the NFL right now. Who can run it? Who can stop the run? The answer, the Steelers couldn't today.
They couldn't. They couldn't run the football. They couldn't stop the football. Stop them from running the ball as well. And I think the most confusing thing about this game was for Buffalo, they were missing 2 tackles, Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown, right? We just saw the Buffalo Bills offensively could not run the football against the Houston Texans over a week ago. We just saw offensively the Buffalo Bills could not protect their quarterback over a week ago against the Houston Texans.
With their starters.
With their starters. And I know Houston defensively, they're living in a different world. But for Pittsburgh, with the personnel they have, going against 2 backup tackles, one would think you would at least sack Josh Allen.
You mean they didn't sack him?
Zero.
Sacked 8
One would
times
think
a week ago.
you would collapse the pocket, make things difficult for him. One would think you could slow down the running game just a tad bit. Neither of those things happened, which led to Buffalo doing something that they needed to do. This was a must-win situation for Buffalo. Must win because of the team they're chasing in that division in the New England Patriots and where they're currently sitting in the entire landscape in the AFC. And for Pittsburgh, the same can be said for them because of what happened this past Thursday night with Baltimore losing to Cincinnati. You had an opportunity to grab a hold of the AFC North, right? And you're playing against a team that was missing guys. And you go out and you get bullied and you get pushed around. That's not the Pittsburgh Steelers way. That's not the way, especially when you're talking about playing against backups on the offensive line. And you couldn't – the Achilles heel for Buffalo defensively has been what? The inability to stop the run. Pittsburgh ran for how many yards?
58.
58.
They stopped it.
And outside of DK Metcalf, who had 3 receptions, no other wide receiver caught 1 pass.
It's interesting because, Pat, I'm wondering, not to broaden too much here, but there's often times during the offseason by unhappy Pittsburgh fans, things said about the unwillingness to change or to adjust. We just heard Tony Romo talk about the unwillingness to adjust in game here by Pittsburgh. Is that something you hear or that you feel perhaps? Because this is a team that, despite the disparity in yardage, was in a football game at halftime.
Right.
They came out a different team in the second half and not the way you want to.
Well, they're not doing something right because it's continuing to happen week in and week out. Teams are able to put up either as big-time passing yards or as big-time rushing yards. This Steelers defense is not the same that it has been in the past. Way too many big yards. They're allowing teams to run the football on them, impose their will, something that you're not used to seeing from a Pittsburgh Steelers defense. If the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is not turning over the ball or shortening the field for their offense, they are in trouble.
Yeah.
Today, they had 3 yards in the third quarter. That is not winning football.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about identity early on in the season, September, October. You like to have yours established by now, but in terms of Buffalo and the way they ran the ball today, JJ, is this that identity-affirming moment that if we are going to succeed, we are going to do so within the tackle box?
Yes. However, and a little bit of cold water on this because this is a big win for Buffalo. I don't know that I would call it a must-win necessarily, but a big win for Buffalo. Josh Allen took a lot of hits in a very physical game tonight. And we know that this Buffalo team goes as Josh Allen goes. And we know that James Cook can run the football and run it very effectively. And yes, you're going to use Josh Allen in short yardage situations. There's no question, no doubt about it. But Josh Allen had 23-plus dropbacks tonight, and he had 8 rushing attempts for 38 yards. Pittsburgh was thumping him. And I do wonder, you know, he has the elbow that he's been faced with. Is that going to be sustainable? We have seen any number of quarterbacks this season who think that they are bigger than the opponent, go and run into that opponent and realize that dude gets paid too, and it hurts. And I know Josh Allen's been doing this for a while. I don't know how sustainable running between the tackles for the quarterback, Josh Allen, is going to be in very physical January AFC playoff ball.
What they need to do, they need to start tapering when they decide to utilize him in the running game.
Yeah.
Because James Cook is the RB1, and we oftentimes complain about why they take the ball out of James Cook's hand. When you give him the opportunities, he can give you this said production. They took the football out of his hands against the Houston Texans when in the first quarter he had almost 80 yards. Remember, he broke one off for 60 or 70 plus, and you just, hey, we don't want to give you the football anymore. Not saying that's what they did, but that's what it felt like. So to your point, I think they get mesmerized with Josh looking like an avatar, how big he is, how athletic he is, but he will get hit. They fall on him, they thump him, and it will add up, especially towards December and January. So just taper it, but you don't want to take him out of the game plan because when he's a +1 in the running game, it's hard to stop them.
And you're hesitant to change how he's playing the game because sometimes those run plays are Josh deciding it's time to run the football.
Yeah, and just get down. It's okay to learn how to baseball slide. Slide into second or third base.
And he still took a hit on one of those baseball slides.
Yes.
That they did not throw a flag.
No flag there. Should have certainly been a flag. We could go for days here on the shortcomings of the Pittsburgh Steelers defensively, but the offense doesn't show up in this one either. It's an offense that had a quarterback dealing with fractures in his offhand. It looked to be part of the way they called this game. A lot of pistol, a lot of shotgun for A-Rod in this one, but the road forward is uncertain right now, but it's still there, Pat. If they're going to find themselves offensively, I mean, first quarter, I don't know that Aaron Rodgers attempted a pass beyond the line of scrimmage. That's sort of been the story of the season. Time to throw is quick. They're trying to get in rhythm off on the edges. How do they need to change offensively right now?
The biggest thing is the offensive line struggle. They can't protect him. And in this game, the biggest disappointment going into this game, Buffalo Bills is probably the worst rushing defense in the league. And the Pittsburgh Steelers was not able to establish the run.
Jaylen Warren, 10 for 35. Kenneth Gainwell, 5 for 20. This is a team that ran it somewhat effectively with Kenneth Gainwell a week ago.
And on top of that, they run the XL package the most out of anyone in the NFL, and they was not still able to have an efficient running game. So for me, like you said, Aaron Rodgers he's been having trouble throwing the ball down the field anyway. And they need another receiver on top of that. But
can we get B-Mac back on camera here because
I don't know
it feels like it's compounded. But looking at that schedule, Mac, doesn't it feel like Groundhog's Day a little bit? Maybe it's happening earlier than it has in years past, but losers,
it's around the same time.
I think we just saw in 5 of their last 7. They start hot. They're September's heroes. We start feeling like this might be that turnaround season.
They eat that Thanksgiving turkey.
And then the tryptophan hits them like a brick wall.
We've seen this in years past. What
is the through line?
Why they don't thrive and more so survive. They lack playmakers. Yeah. You just asked Pat a question about the passing game and how, bland it was. When you don't have playmakers, it's hard.
Yeah.
Especially when you're playing against playoff caliber teams, right? But when you had a playmaker and you let him go, in George Pickens, it's hard to replace that said playmaker.
They tried.
And right now, the only playmaker they have in the passing game is DK Metcalf in terms of explosion.
Who created a playmaker elsewhere in Seattle with JSN being the one. So
the
ripple effects in the world of wide receivers is felt off that deal.
And JJ, you're right. They've tried multiple times. But even the guys they were trying to bring in don't have that it factor like George Pickens naturally has. And we're seeing it. So just think about if George Pickens, and this is a hypothetical, but Steeler fans, rock with me here. Just think about if this George Pickens that we're watching in Dallas was still a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Remember what George Pickens was doing with Trubisky at the quarterback position, Mason Rudolph at the quarterback position, Kenny Pickett. He was giving you numbers, given the opportunities. But if you would have put him with Aaron Rodgers and DK and the tight ends, now you got to pick and choose what you're going to do because you got a guy you got to respect. Pat, you know how it is when you're in the secondary, when you don't have wide receivers that you don't game plan for them. You feel like, no, they don't have a matchup that we're concerned with. And when you play against Pittsburgh, make sure DK don't get off. Now let's see can the other guys beat you. Like I said, DK had 3 receptions. No other wide receiver caught a pass.
I think there's no creativity either in that offense, in my opinion, especially in the passing game.
Which hurts when you don't have playmakers.
It's hard to be creative in 2.4 seconds. If they can't protect in front of Aaron Rodgers and the whole game plan is quick this way, quick that way, George Pickens might look great on a tunnel screen, but it's still not George Pickens running deep ins, George Pickens running deep overs, the things that require time and accuracy downfield.
Joe, you played wide receiver. I used to play a little bit in high school. I think Pat did as well. And JJ, you probably played also.
Well, I covered him.
But I know one thing about being able to minimize the pass rush. What was George Pickens running in Thanksgiving? Slants. How
Okay.
many times was he open?
I do feel that JJ has a retort here.
I'm
that
just saying,
listen,
I'm venting right now.
I know you are, but we also have to be honest about the player and person and teammate that George Pickens was when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so while I do enjoy this theory of the Dallas Cowboys George Pickens coming and transporting himself to the Pittsburgh Steelers again, I don't know that the Dallas Cowboys George Pickens is ever created unless he gets traded from Pittsburgh and learns a bit of a very important lesson in that. Okay.
I can tell you this much.
Was he going to?
You would love to find out.
I want to see. I want to see, can he create and be more dependable, a better teammate? You know what? If I'm Pittsburgh,
he was showing up to games like 20 minutes before kickoff with Pittsburgh.
What JJ, if you were dealing with for 3 years.
You got one more year with
I've
him.
got one more year at least to see, can he grow up?
You know, he's got the celebration.
question.
You never know who's going to come out from behind the
all
curtains.
I'm saying is, I understand your point, and I'm not saying you're wrong, JJ, but all I'm saying is, I want to see what it looks like with George Pickens in the huddle with DK and Aaron Rodgers and Jonnu Smith and Fire Mode. I want to see. And now, if he's still not developing like you want him to develop, he's still a great trade piece.
You got Madden?
Before the trade deadline.
You got Madden?
I do.
Ultimate Team?
I don't want to do that because
That's the only way you're going to find out.
emotions.
That's the only way you're going to
Everything we were
find out.
talking about is because of things like that. And you guys know how hard it is to have playmakers in the National Football League.
They traded one away.
They
traded one away for a day 2 pick.
Again, a cautionary tale of the past. You just can't let it happen again in the future as they try and reconstruct. Now, 6-6. It's not over.
It ain't.
The Ravens won't let it be over because they're not playing to their standard right now.
There you have it.
Watch out for the Bengals. They did it before.
Couple nice throws in the second half by Burrow.
And guess what? Pittsburgh, Baltimore next Sunday?
Super Bowl.
Weeks 14 and 18.
Big one coming as for the Buffalo Bills. Sean McDermott, his team continues to stack them up.